Hi, Nani from Human Design Tools here, and we're going to talk about the emotional waves. There are 3 emotional waves in human design, and one is the individual, the second is the collective, and the third is a tribal wave, and I'm going to tell you more about them very soon. First, I want to let you know that you will only have an emotional wave if you have a defined emotional solar plexus center, and that's shown here with this colored in triangle. And it's that triangle on your chart, the lower right side, and if it has any color in it, doesn't matter which color, as long as it's not white, it means you have a defined emotional solar plexus center. No matter which wave you have, I want to tell you the key to the defined emotional solar plexus center. If you are emotionally defined, you need to wait for emotional clarity before making decisions. So manifestors should wait for emotional clarity before taking action, and then of course informing like they're supposed to according to their strategy. This is part of riding the emotional wave. And generators or manifesting generators should wait for emotional clarity before responding. Projectors should sleep on their invitation until they're sure it's right for them. And reflectors can actually not be emotionally defined because all of their centers are open. So emotionally defined individuals feel a sense or an internal click when they have the emotional clarity. Sometimes people call it like a peaceful calm, but it will depend on how it works for you. And that's when you're ready to take action. So wait for emotional clarity before taking action to avoid making hasty emotional decisions that you might regret later. And I made a little example here of how this can work. So make sure to consistently say yes to your decision rather than fluctuating between, yes on a high and no on a low, or it could be the other way around and you're saying no on a high and, oh, maybe yes, I want to do that when you're on a low. And I'll tell you a little bit more about the waves in a minute here. But basically, you want to be able to say yes consistently over your wave, so that you can get to that click of emotional clarity or that peaceful calm for yourself. Otherwise, you're going to enter into a decision, and just as you were going, like undulating between yes and no, that's how whatever you enter into is going to feel. It's not going to necessarily feel like definite yes, I should have done that and I'm excited the whole time. You'll go back and forth just like you did in your decision making. Now you might be wondering, which emotional wave or waves do I have? So the channels connecting your solar plexus center to other centers in your chart will determine the kind of wave that you experience. Some individuals are pre-programmed to only experience mild emotional fluctuations, while others may experience extreme highs and lows with plateaus in between. Due to the wave-like nature of our emotions, it can be easy to confuse a natural low point with something like depression. If you're emotionally defined, depression can become a challenge if you get stuck in that feeling, and you're looking for a reason why you're feeling down. Negative emotions often have a bad reputation in our culture. However, feeling melancholic is an important part of the creative process. It allows for different perspectives. And everyone's emotional frequency has a unique rhythm. Some have daily ups and downs, while others have longer periods of stability with occasional dips. And understanding your own emotional patterns can help you make healthier decisions and provide insight into how long it may take to gain emotional clarity on the issue. So here are the 3 waves of the emotional solar plexus center. Emotions have a frequency, and it's shown by a sine wave, which is what's shown on here. And the 3 waves of the emotional solar plexus center go between something that's like the high, good, hopeful, and inspired feeling to cycles where you feel low, melancholy, or introspective. And you're designed to have these outer cycles of creativity, expression, and sharing, but also the integration and contemplation. Emotional energy isn't any different than something like getting your period. You will have an emotional cycle in your energy field. It happens. It's not a bad thing. It's just a thing. Don't judge it or question it. And don't ask yourself what's wrong with me, because that can keep you in the lower, like melancholy, introspective side longer than it was meant for. If you have channel 1222 or channel 3955 defined or like colored in your chart, then you have an individual emotional wave. This wave is the most extreme of the 3 waves, and it originates from within yourself. It involves swinging between high highs and low lows, which can be confusing and cause personal pain if you don't understand it. This swing isn't inherently bad. It represents a shift from outward creative energy to inward reflective energy, and you can work with it once you know where you are on the wave. So something like consider getting projects done or trying something new when you're on that outward creative high. And when you're on that inward introspective low, care for yourself. Something like curling up with a cup of tea and a good book, or the feeling of that. The challenge arises when you get stuck a little bit too long on this inward reflective cycle and you think that it's a bad thing or negative thing, and then you get stuck in a lower vibe for a while. Instead, try to nurture your energy when you're there and nurture your energy wherever you are. None of the energy in the individual channel is bad. It's either like in this outward creative, like I'm going to call it unicorn energy, to the internal sparkle where you're integrating thing and you're being reflective. So both of them are good, they're just different places on the wave. If you have channel 4130 or channel 3536, you're going to experience the collective wave. This wave slowly climbs, and I think of it like a roller coaster, so it's like slowly climbing, then it quickly plummets, only to start climbing all over again. If you have the collective wave, it's important not to make impulsive decisions. Take the time to ensure that a decision feels right to avoid making a self-destructive choice accidentally. Just like the individual emotional wave, there's nothing inherently bad about either part of the wave. You're just slowly climbing and then riding the wave down as it goes down quickly and then going through that wave again. If you have channel 4037, 1949, or 596, you'll experience the tribal wave. It actually may not feel very emotional. It's just this very small undulation, and it may only be noticeable when you have a relationship problem, challenge, or pain. The tribal waves are small unless something significant happens in your interpersonal relationships, such as with kids, marriage, partners, or parents, or coworkers, or something like that. So I picked this image because this energy is not inherently good or bad, but I bet you that dog was sitting there just, feeling not too much of a wave. And then when an energy of another person, or in this case, like another creature comes in, then they might feel something. This question is often asked, how do I know where I am on my wave? Well, the emotional cycle varies for each person and is affected by other parameters in the chart. Some individuals have deeply rhythmic cycles displaying predictable patterns of emotions. Other people experience long cycles with low emotions, say in the winter, and high emotions in the summer, while others have short cycles that could be as short as a day or a week. Some individuals have no discernible rhythm or predictability in their emotional cycles. But there's an exercise you can do to understand your emotional patterns. Maintain a daily log and try doing this for several months and look for any emerging patterns. Focusing on your emotional energy, especially when you're feeling low, can influence the nature of your emotional state. By directing your energy towards that low feeling, you can prolong and intensify it. However, you are not at the mercy of your emotions. You'll always have the ups and downs, but you can take control by recognizing and accepting these cycles. Instead of feeling like the victim of your emotions, you can instead choose to nurture yourself during low periods and appreciate the depth of creative energy that comes with melancholy. By shifting your focus, you can move through these low periods more quickly and spend less time in them. Ultimately, this allows you to experience fewer extreme highs and lows. Embracing and accepting your emotional waves allows for a more balanced and fluid experience of happiness. And a tip for anyone, because you can have more than one emotional wave, you could have an individual and, say, a tribal or collective wave. If you don't like your mood, just wait a minute, because it will probably change. So take a look at your chart, figure out which wave you have, and discover what it might mean for you. And maybe you can even discover what your cycle is. If nothing else, if you don't want to look into that or experiment with that, just take your time when you make decisions if you have a defined emotional solar plexus center. Thank you for taking the time to listen to information about the emotional waves, and I appreciate you. And if you want to learn more about human design, check out humandesignTools.com and you can join our growing community.